After spiritual awakening, your ego starts to fade, and with it, a huge chunk of your motivation seems to vanish. A lot of the goals and ambition you had before were tied to your old self, so when that fades, it's natural for your drive to fade too. But that's not the only reason you might feel unmotivated. There's actually a lot more going on, and understanding it can completely change how you navigate this phase. First, let's talk about ego death, because it's a significant part of this. Think of your ego as the part of you that used to decide on all your goals. For example, climbing the corporate ladder, getting that promotion, buying the house, impressing certain people. Your ego sets the direction. And you have this incredible engine inside you, your drive, your energy, your willpower, ready to push you towards those ego driven goals. But then spiritual awakening happens. Your ego, that old goal setter, starts to dissolve or quiet down. It's not gone forever, but its grip on the steering wheel loosened. And what's happened? You don't know where to go anymore. Suddenly, there are no goals, there's no clear direction, no destination, nothing. You can still drive to your destination your ego has set previously. But what's the point? It's not something you want anymore. Of course, you will feel unmotivated to pursue that. After spiritual awakening, if you find that chasing promotion and money is meaningless, you can't contradict yourself. You can't go against yourself. And therefore, you have no motivation. On the surface, it might seem that you might have become depressed, lazy, or just wasting your time, right? But here's the thing, your engine is still there, it's not gone. You still have that power, that potential energy, that internal drive you can harness. Right now, your engine is just idling, unsure of where to go next, waiting for you to give it some direction. And that's why you feel stuck. It's not that you can't move, it's that you don't have a strong enough reason to move anywhere after a spiritual awakening. The stuff that used to motivate you doesn't interest you anymore because you are going through such a huge internal shift. You have gone from relying on external validation and ego driven goals to finding inspiration from within. Once you discover that clear purpose that truly resonates with your soul, you will have the direction you need. And if you don't resist your soul's calling, your engine will be powerful enough to get you there. But the real question is, how do we connect with our purpose? After spiritual awakening, many of us are stuck in this limbo phase. It's like you are no longer the person you were once before, but you're not quite the person you are becoming yet. You know what you don't want, but you don't quite know what you want yet. So you are in this uncomfortable in between space. Maybe your old job, your career path, or even your social circle just don't resonate with you anymore. They feel hollow or even draining. But you don't know what's the new path to take, where's your tribe, or what your purpose is. So you might find yourself still in that old job, feeling utterly uninspired, or pulling away from your friends you used to love just because you don't know where you fit now or how to interact with them. You might also find yourself questioning everything. Like you question your old belief about success, happiness, and purpose. Yet, you don't have a new belief system to replace it. So you're trying to figure out what truly matters to you now. But it's like rebuilding a house brick by brick, and you don't even have the blueprints yet. This can feel incredibly disorienting, leaving you without a clear direction to move forward. But that's totally normal. We all been through this tough phase at some point. I used to be an accountant, but it never felt right for me. Then I tried being an animator, but it also didn't give me the creative freedom I crave. So I felt lost, stuck, and kind of depressed for a while, just floating in limbo, floating like a piece of wood in a huge ocean, feeling powerless and without control. Our minds get restless when they don't have a clear direction. So we need to give them one. We need to give them something to focus on. Setting goals can help the mind stay focused, but don't set goals as something to chase after, only to feel happy later. Use it more like a signpost or a way to anchor your mind. If money is not something that motivates you anymore, then you got to find something else to inspire you. Or you can simply focus on intention instead of goals. It could just be the intention to live peacefully. That's what I focused on after my first spiritual awakening. I simply wanted to connect with the deep peace within me, and anything that disrupt that peace, whether it was relationship or work, I just let it go. But even though you find a clear direction, it doesn't always mean you will feel motivated to act. After my first spiritual awakening way back in 2015, I still go through a wave of feeling inspired and I'm motivated every now and then. Especially this year, I noticed a huge dip in terms of my energy. When I first woke up spiritually, I was obsessed with reading spiritual books. I read so many of them. But now, I don't even have the desire anymore. I barely even go to the library. And that's okay. Sometimes I'm full of energy and excited to do things, and other times I just don't feel like doing much. In my spiritual journey, I've learned not to force myself to do things where I'm just not feeling it. If you feel unmotivated to do things, never judge yourself or beat yourself up. The more you force yourself to do things, the more resistant there is, and the more you'll feel unmotivated to work. It's like pushing a huge boulder out a mountain. It's tough work. Instead, understand that energy comes in waves. There are always highs and lows, and that's totally normal. Especially every time you go through another round of spiritual awakening, your energy is actually recalibrating. It can bring out intense emotion and old traumas you have been carrying for years. And as you heal and release those emotions, it's naturally to feel your energy dip. Processing all of that can take a lot out of you. This kind of deep inner work can leave you feeling exhausted because your system is literally rewiring yourself. What feels like demotivation might actually be just your body asking for rest and recovery while it adjusts to these big changes. So whenever my energy dips, I let myself slow down. I take breaks, I do less, and when my energy picks up again, I'll ride the momentum. Something interesting is you'll find that going with the flow actually gets you more things done and require less of your effort than trying to push against it. After a spiritual awakening, we have to let go of our old ways of doing things. You can't just keep pushing or forcing yourself towards the goal the way you used to, because that's how the ego works, but that's not how the spirit works. Now it's more about following inspiration and trusting your vibe and energy. You don't always move because you have a clear plan or direction. Sometimes you move because something inside of you inspired you to take action. It's all about being connected to the energy within you, your spiritual self that guides you. After spiritual awakening, your spirit is mostly the one doing the moving, animating you, and not the mind. Your mind now becomes more like a co pilot. It doesn't always need to figure things out or stay in control. It can finally relax and take a back seat. Sure, it can feel a little unpredictable sometimes, catching a wave and riding the flow. You don't know when the wave of inspiration will come. But when you trust your energy and follow it, things tend to fall into place faster and better than before. But I know what you're thinking. It's easy when you're self-employed, right? You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. But what if you're working a 9 to 5 job? Deadlines are looming and you got to stay focused to get things done on time. But here's the thing. Having up and down in your energy doesn't mean you just sit around all day waiting for inspiration to come. Sometimes stepping away from your work can help you clear your mind and bring fresh ideas. But other times it's about showing up and getting started even when you don't have a clear direction. What I found is that even when I'm not feeling inspired, just taking a small step, like writing one sentence or brainstorming one idea, can help to build momentum. Once you start, things will flow more easily. Once you get that creative juice going, you'll find more energy to keep going. For example, even though I experienced this dip in my energy this year, I still managed to post at least one video and blog post a week. It's not because I'm disciplined or I force myself to work. It's because it has become a routine like brushing my teeth or taking a shower. I show up every morning to write even when I have no inspiration. And I just quiet my mind down and listen for that little spark inside of me. You know, the one that whisper, why not try this? Why not try that? The one that comes from your heart, not your head. And when you follow that little spark, even if it's very small, it creates momentum. The more you lean into it, the more your idea flows and the more passionate you become. And bit by bit, I will find my rhythm, I'll gain momentum and get into flow. And the words will just flow out naturally. But you know what the real work is? It's not just about creating content or doing more things. The real work is reconnecting with myself and raising my energy. When I feel a resistance to work, it means that I have some false belief blocking me from a natural flow of energy. And I will stop and ask myself, what am I resisting? Why do I feel this way? I get curious about what's holding me back and what's preventing me from connecting with a higher vibration. What belief or thoughts do I have that aren't aligned with my true self? What emotion do I need to process? Maybe I'm scared of being judged or second guessing my ideas, thinking that they won't work. Maybe I'm worried about not being good enough or feeling overwhelmed by the task ahead. Whatever it is, I will take a moment to acknowledge and release those fear and doubts. Once I'm aware of my disconnection, I can shift my focus away from those negative thoughts and ask myself what my higher self would think. Because if I don't do that and then I block one idea, it can block everything else. I will start second guessing every idea or inspiration I have, and my creativity will get stuck and fear will take over. Showing up isn't just for the work itself, it's a daily practice to align to your spiritual self. Sometimes it's through work that we realize why we are feeling off and unmotivated. It gives you more insight to your inner self, your vibration, and your alignment. And that's why I work. Losing interest and having no motivation can seem like a bad thing sometimes, but it's actually not. Watch this next video for more insights.